Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about a book. It's called Show Your Work, and I am here to tell you why it kind of changed my life. And I'm not being dramatic. I will tell you how I did that, the lessons from it, even if you didn't want to read it or you want some overview, some synopsis, I got you. So Show Your Work was written pretty recently. In fact, I think in 2021, I wrote about this book. And I'll send the link down below this video because I just find it hilarious how you could read one book maybe 2 years ago, a year ago, and it just wouldn't leave you alone. No matter how many books I've read, I keep coming back to this book like, aha, yes, that's why I must do this. Okay, so I have all my notes here. Before we get into it, I did want to let you know about my newsletter. It's called Unlearning Weekly. Every week I share books that I'm reading, productivity tips, cybersecurity resources, anything that I really find on the internet that is fun. So I can be chronically online, but you don't have to be. I got you. I will be leaving the link for my newsletter in the comments. Please, not in the comments, in the description. Please check it out. I love it there. And I always encourage people to check it out. So it's my favorite place on the whole internet. None of these platforms. I'm sorry, but that's where I belong. I'm sorry. So one of the first points that he makes in this book is that you do not have to be a genius. And basically what he's saying is that if you want to show your work, if you want to post on social media, if you want to, share that you have a new skill, you want to challenge yourself or put yourself out there in some way. He's saying that there's something in the back of our mind sometimes that tells us, you know what, you're not the expert, you don't know enough. Even before I started this YouTube channel, I kept telling myself I am not a PhD in cybersecurity. It's so silly. I do not have a master's in cybersecurity. I did not go to school for cybersecurity. How dare I? And of course, you talk to people that have been in cybersecurity for decades and decades, and they'll tell you, girl, stop. Just share what you learned, even if it's, guys, Python is a language. Nobody's gonna tell you to shut up. Everyone's happy that you know Python is a language now, So basically what he says is to encourage you to share and to remind you that you do not have to be an expert. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be the person who's a know-it-all. You're simply learning, and it's very empowering to come across somebody that's learning something, but they go out of their way to share. He makes a point in this book that kind of caught me off guard in regards to you don't have to be a genius. And that is, he said, read obituaries. And I'm sorry, but when I read that, I stopped dead in my tracks because I'm someone that likes to think sometimes about death or the end of times just so I can get myself to do something, but it's not really sustainable and it's too frightening if you think about it too long, But he says to read obituaries. By reading obituaries, you're able to understand that there's unlived lives that everybody has. Life is very short. Sometimes when we think about our goals and dreams in the context of, hey, I don't have that much time, then suddenly you're able to do it. Suddenly you don't have to be an expert. And I really appreciated this part. I kept reading and rereading it, taking notes, highlighting it. And I don't know, to this day, I haven't read a book that tells me, hey, read an obituary. That's what you need to be doing. So I really appreciated him for this because I just haven't seen anyone do that. I mean, the sheer, ugh. The second point is think process, not product. A lot of us, when we are trying to do anything in life, we're thinking about the outcome. We're thinking about the results. But he basically says, think about the process, not the end result or the product that you're working on. So let's say you are a painter. Don't worry about the final painting that you're going to have to show us, or the fact that it might be something that might not be your best work. There's a lot of anxiety that gets into thinking about the final you, the final product, the final version of your video, the final YouTube channel that you'll have, the final this and that. Put that aside, he says, and think about the process. Just share a little bit every day. If you are a painter, show us your paintbrushes. What are you using for the day? Show us your canvas. Show us your desk. After reading this book, I kind of understood why everybody shares their work environment. I might even do a video on that because it's exactly this point, which is show us the process, not necessarily the product. Yeah, you might be a fashion designer for Vogue, good for you. Show us your desk and what fabrics you're working on. So people are starting to become more and more interested in the process, in seeing the behind the scenes, which is why TikTok and Twitter and Instagram even are going in that direction, where people are not necessarily interested in the final product, in the perfect image. They kind of want to see the messiness of it. What version did you discard, right? Show us the director's cut. We are interested. Reason why think process, not product, put me at ease, and I think about it again and again, even with my own content, is because even when you start, sometimes you plateau or you don't see the progress that you want to see, and so now you're getting unnecessary emotions are in the mix now, and you're saying, hey, I don't even think this is right for me anymore. I think the ugliest part about doing anything, besides after you get started, I think starting is the hardest, but once you get started, the ugliest thing, the messiest thing, the thing that we hate is when you just feel like you're just existing. You're almost resharing stuff that you already shared. It's almost like living in a deja vu, but it's not fun or cool at all. It's very mundane, it's ugly, it's looking at analytics. That's when you care about getting good. Before, in the beginning, you can trick your mind into not being a genius. But what happens after a time when you do feel like you should be a genius, right? So he just says, hey, process, process, process. Do not focus on the final product. The third point that he makes, and I really resonate with, and I think it will resonate with you too, is he says, open up your cabinet of curiosities, meaning who influences you. Let's say you have a day where you're sharing your process, but you feel stuck. Maybe you already shared this content or this writing or this movie, right? He says, look into who influences you. Do not be shy to take from your influencers. Don't take from one. I mean, diversify. If you diversify your portfolio of influencers and people that inspire you, people that you look up to, now you have you have a certain level of taste to be able to be inspired by certain creators, certain writers, certain movie directors, or certain, I don't know, chefs, right? So you have to kind of trust that you have a good opinion. And so once you have certain people that influence you and you put them in a bucket, of course, give credit where credit's due, but do not be shy about going out there and searching for stuff that inspires you and then sharing it with the rest of the world. This does two things for you that he talks about, which is, first, it shows people who you are, because you're saying, hey, you're pointing to people that, that influence you, that you like. You're telling them about, I don't know, a new shoe that comes out, and you're telling the audience and anybody who comes across you, oh, you care about sneakers, okay. So it's a way of telling people without shoving it down in their throat. Another one is you're showing people what you do, maybe your expertise, your eye, the level of analysis that you apply to things. You're telling people a lot more about yourself than you would if, you weren't doing that. All right, my notes are over, but I hope this was helpful in any way in understanding Show Your Work and why it helped me kind of open my mind up. It really inspired me. It came at a perfect time where I still did not trust social media, but it kind of inspired me to share a little bit of myself. I still struggle with it someday where I don't want to tweet a certain thing. Like, I still hold myself back a little bit, but I'm working on it. And so just today, I realized, wait, I don't share enough of the work that I'm actually doing. So I'll be doing that more. This truly is one of the books that inspires me to this day, because I've never had someone put into words what I needed to hear. And I hope this was helpful in any way. Thank you so much for watching this video. It really does mean a lot. A lot of you have been commenting and subscribing. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you could share this video, I don't know, leave a comment. That would be really awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I just love this, and I love sharing anything that I find to be helpful. So I hope to continue that. Thank you so much, and have an awesome day.